This is Autoline Daily, the show dedicated to enthusiasts of the global automotive industry. Yesterday, we wondered if UAW President Shawn Fain had raised members' expectations too high, but it looks like some of the angst, ours included, over the UAW contract is finally coming to an end. Yesterday, workers at GM's Arlington, Texas plant approved the contract by nearly 61%, and that boosted the overall yes votes at GM to nearly 54%. 66% of Ford and Stellantis workers have also voted yes so far. While there are still a couple of dozen locals at the Detroit 3 who have yet to vote, it does look like the new contracts are going to get approved. And as if to put an exclamation point on it, workers at Mack Truck ended their 39-day strike and approved their UAW contract. And all this is now going to free up Shawn Fain to go after the transplants and EV startups and try and organize them. So, we're curious what you all think about it. Which non-union automaker do you think the union will go after first? They say that charging anxiety is the new range anxiety for EVs. So Mercedes and ChargePoint are installing new fast chargers that will at least get EVs back on the road a little bit faster. Earlier this year, Mercedes announced it's following in Tesla's footsteps and will open its own charging network. And it just opened its first hub in the U.S., located at its North American headquarters in Georgia. The automaker partnered with ChargePoint to install 400 kilowatt fast chargers. Mercedes will open more locations in Texas, Florida, Alabama, and Georgia by the end of the year, and by the end of the decade, it plans to have 2,500 chargers at 400 charging hubs across North America, and they're open to any brand. While Mercedes says the chargers deliver 400 kilowatts, ChargePoint actually says it will have versions capable of 500 kilowatts. Of all the global efforts to reach net zero carbon emissions by 2050, only electric vehicles are on track to reach that goal. That's according to a joint study from the Bezos Earth Fund and other nonprofit groups, which looked at several areas, including electricity, industry, transport, and land. It found that measures to curb government subsidies of fossil fuels and the need for increased green steel production are lagging. The study says reforestation and cutting beef output are heading in the right way, but they're going too slow. The only area that was on track to hit net zero carbon emissions is electric vehicle sales, which have been growing at 65% since 2018. What are the best new cars, trucks, and utility vehicles that came out this year? That's what we'll be talking about on Autoline After Hours today. We'll have 3 jurors from the North American Car of the Year Awards on the show to go through the best and worst of the model year. So join John and Gary, who are also on the NACTOY jury, when the show goes live on the new Autoline website and our YouTube channel at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Hyundai doesn't think that sporty driving in an electric car is all that engaging, so its first performance EV, the IONIQ 5N, will pump an artificial mixture into the cabin of electric motor and IC engine that reacts to the driver's inputs while also simulating the feeling of shifting gears. Some people will look down on that as being fake, but there are also a lot of real performance parts thrown at this car. It ticks the boxes for all the usual suspects, like brakes, suspension, steering, wheels, and tires. But Hyundai also put a lot of effort into ensuring that the IONIQ 5N wouldn't crap out after a few laps on the track as well. It comes with a larger 84 kilowatt-hour battery pack. That pack and the motors have their own independent radiators. And the thermal management system has increased cooling area and volume, better motor oil cooling, and a battery chiller. Combined, its motors make nearly 480 kilowatts, or just over 600 horsepower, and it will do 0 to 60 in about 3.5 seconds. Examples start hitting dealer showrooms in March of next year. Speaking of the Hyundai Group, Genesis announced that its first ever GV80 Coupe will be available in North America. Revealed at the New York Auto Show in April, the fastback SUV joins the redesigned version of the standard roof model. The exterior styling is pretty much the same as the current model, but the interior sees a new 27-inch screen that blends the infotainment screen and instrument cluster together, which also resulted in some tweaks to the dash and center console. Power will come from either a 300 horsepower turbo 4-cylinder or a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 that in top form pairs an additional 48-volt electric supercharger for 409 horsepower. Genesis says it will provide more details on the new GV80 models sometime next year. Do you drive a Ford? And if you do, have you ever wanted to complain directly to the company about a problem in your car, or even maybe give a suggestion on how to make it better? Well, Ford wants to hear from you. It now allows drivers to tap on an icon in the center screen that pulls up an app that allows you to record a 45-second message. The message is sent immediately to Ford engineers so they can get customer feedback in real time. The feedback technology also collects data logs from the car so engineers can get a better understanding of what was going on when the customer recorded their message. So far, 300,000 Ford vehicles are equipped with this feature, and more will get software updates to add it. The company is also working on ways to provide instant assistance when someone has a problem. Ford has a higher level of recalls and warranty problems than other automakers, and this clearly is a way to try and fix that. Toyota and EV battery recycler Redwood Materials are expanding their partnership. Redwood will supply Toyota with recycled cathode active material and anode copper that the automaker will use in EV batteries produced at its new battery plant in North Carolina. The previous deal signed last year was just to recycle batteries from Toyota's hybrids and EVs. The partnership is part of Toyota's plan to create a closed-loop battery ecosystem to reach its goal of carbon neutrality by 2035. Hyper, a newly independent brand of Chinese automaker GAC, is taking a page out of Tesla's book and is coming out with an all-electric SUV with rear Gullwing doors. The Hyper HT is a mid-size vehicle that's a little bit bigger than a Tesla Model Y and is rear-wheel drive only with up to 340 horsepower and 770 kilometers, or nearly 480 miles of range. The model is just hitting the Chinese market now with a starting price a little under $30,000, but the Gullwing doors are only available on the top two trims, and the lower one of those starts at just under $40,000. Automakers have largely avoided Gullwing doors because they add heavy structure to the roof and can be hard to seal. While Hyper is clearly copying Tesla, Tesla certainly wasn't the first with Gullwings. The look was pioneered by the Mercedes 300 SL in the early 1950s, and the next most well-known application is probably the DeLorean. But also let us know some of your favorite Gullwing models. Domino's is always coming out with unique vehicles to deliver pizza. In the past, it partnered with Ford and Nuro to deliver food with autonomous vehicles, and it teamed up with Chevy to make custom-built delivery vehicles based on the Spark and Bolt. And now it's coming out with a custom-made electric bike that has a built-in pizza warmer on the back. It's temperature-controlled and stays at a constant 68 degrees Celsius or 154 degrees Fahrenheit. The bike also has what Domino calls a space-age suspension to make sure your toppings don't go flying all over the place. But you won't be seeing these in the US anytime soon. The e-bike was created by Domino's International, which has stores in Australia, Asia, and Europe. But that's a wrap for today. Thanks for joining us.
Autoline Daily is brought to you by Bridgestone, solutions for your journey. Intrepid Control Systems, over-the-air engineering, boost your game. Borg Warner, propulsion solutions that support a clean, energy-efficient world. Scheffler, we pioneer motion. And by Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.
But at Teijin Automotive Technologies, we combine world-class composite materials expertise with cutting-edge designs because, frankly, there are better ways to lightweight vehicles. So lighten up with Teijin Automotive Technologies, the formula for better mobility.
We want to know what drives your testing. OTA, connected car, diagnostics, remote testing. Intrepid Control Systems is here to help you work from anywhere. Intrepid Control Systems, driven by your data.
At Schaeffler, we pioneer motion. Electrifying mobility. Manufacturing smarter. Reducing CO2 emissions. Making energy production clean. Schaeffler pioneers motion to advance how the world moves.